Hello YouTube, this is Alexander again. Today I want to talk about the Fluke 97 50 MHz scope meter, which is a very nice scope meter actually. I sometimes use this kind of device to make some electronic on my workbench, and sometimes I need it to make some troubleshooting on a car, on site, on the external workbench, and sometimes you use a functional battery inside working properly to use your scope meter correctly. But the problem is that sometimes you put your device on stockage area and you don't use it each day, so you will find your battery completely flat when you use it, and it's a pain in the neck to charge it because it takes a very long time. It takes a while to charge this kind of battery. This is a high technology battery, cadmium nickel I think, and today, okay, those kind of battery are very secure. Okay, that's a nice battery, but it has a leak of current inside, and sometimes you will find it empty when you need it. Not completely sure, but sometimes it can happen because the internal circuit of the scope, not because of the battery. So what we want to make is to manage to put this kind of lithium battery which are able to hold a certain current for charging. And of course you need to remove this kind of old technology battery and use those kind of lithium battery. Of course, the difference between this and this is those kind of unit. If you use one cell, you are under the lower voltage, and if you use this one, you are about 5 volt, between 4 and 5 volt, according if your battery is charged or not. So what you need to know about the scope meter is it has an electronic power supply on it, kind of buck converter inside, and no matter if your voltage is low, it's managed to make the good voltage for the scope to work properly. And of course you put upper voltage like this one, because this one is about 8 volt when the battery are charged. You can reach easily the 8.4 volt. And the buck converter or the boost converter, I think maybe it make both sense. I think it's able to provide energy for the scope to work with. So if you know an engineer on YouTube, which the name of the channel is Feedback Loop, I think, he managed to work with those kind of battery, and of course it's more difficult actually, because the made of this engineer was to change the internal circuit of this battery or this scope to manage to charge those batteries at 8 volt I think. He managed to convert the internal system to provide the good voltage on those battery. But what I think about this scope meter, it's use this kind of battery without any sensor, which is not the case of the Fluke 123. The Fluke 123 use a thermal sensor on the battery and charge constantly the battery until a certain temperature of the battery, which is the final stop charging process, because you can make different battery and different voltage. It's constantly charge your battery and feel the heat of the element, and understand that your battery is charging. Because why I think that, it's because on this kind of multimeter, according the Fluke 160 and 196 or the 123 is sometimes on the terminals on the PCB you can find a voltage more than the charging voltage of this kind of battery, because it's detect the charging process with the heat coming from the element. So if you know an engineer on YouTube, which the name is Feedback Loop, I think, he manages to make a change on the internal circuit of this scope to charge a lithium cell like this. But what I don't like with the lithium cell, it's they need a special charge because they are able to draw a lot of current because the internal resistors are not the same than those kind of batteries. So this idea is not the best for me, even if the example with the feedback loops work well actually. I think on his video he talked about non-efficient charging process, which can permit a longer life, more long life to the lithium cell. So what I make here is not an internal charge, because what I want here is a very quick charge. So when I take this scope meter to make any work on any workbench, I need to charge it quickly. So the internal charger circuit is not enough. So what I did here is to use this kind of battery, and because it uses a buck converter and a boost converter, you can use a different voltage. You are not forced to use a voltage coming from this one, which is about 5 volts when fully charged. So those one, when used in parallel, are about 8 volts, and because the curve of those devices are not exactly the same, you can feel exactly, or maybe better, duty on your scope, because if you read on this battery, you can see here 4000 milliamp per cell, and this one is about nearly the same, which are slightly better than the cell, but those ones are able to work from 6 to 8 volts. So we have a different curve, and this different curve is able to give you more duty according the working of this device. So here, if you turn the device and you see the back of the device, you can see on the bonnet here of the battery, you can see a little outlet here and LED. This outlet is the opposite of this one. This one is the outlet for the internal charge, which take a very long time to charge the internal battery. But this one is able to provide you a charge about 70% of the internal battery just with just 1 hour of charge. So here you will have an LED to confirm the charging process, and here you can see a power supply, and you can use the 12 volt output. You can use this kind of device, but you can also use a very current transformer like that coming from a laptop, about 20 volts. It's perfectly working actually. And what I currently use is those kind of transformer, which are the best, I think, to charge it very quickly. And this is a universal adapter actually. So I use actually this one to charge the scope. And if, for the instance, here you can see you have the internal outlet here. This is the outlet I put on the bonnet of this battery, and you can see the charging process is done here, and you can see here a current is drawing here. The current is drawn here about the charging process. And of course, if I switch on the device, you can see the current is rising a little bit. I do it again. This is only charging, and if I switch on, the current is drawing a little bit, which indicates that this scope is not very greedy actually. So if I switch on the backlight, there is a slight backlight, you can have more current on the display, because it's charging, and at the same time it's powered the unit. So actually the charge is very quick. About 1 hour you can reach maybe not 7%, I guess, but what here, this is the battery are full. Actually, this is idle current of charge, and I'm going to show you the idea about how to make a charger, an external charger on this device. So if I remove the plug, the LED is off, the current is about 0, and the device is perfectly working. The problem with this kind of unit, it has a little backlight, not a very shiny backlight. So actually, let's demount it. You can see a bridge diode, which permits to you to use an alternative current here if you want. And no matter about the sense of the polarity in this outlet, you can use negative or positive, it does not matter. So here you will have a little buck converter, which converts the voltage coming from here, which is mandatory more than 8 volts, to 8 volts. And this 8 volt here are driven by this resistor, and of course you will find this those Zener diode to protect the entry of the scope. I don't know if you can see, but here you will have a little potentiometer here to adjust the desired voltage here. The desired voltage here needs to be overpowered, because you need to recover the voltage drop coming from this diode here. And the current limitation is simply made by this simple resistor here. And as you can see, here are the simple batteries which I had on my hand earlier. They are exactly those one, but twisted, folded in half like this, and they fit completely the room of this battery compartment. And this is how I made the connection. And of course they have their own BMS inside, which I keep from those batteries, so it will protect the battery against a deep charge or a big overvoltage. So, and this way to make battery management is more secure. So this is the best way for me to make battery management on this kind of device, because I'm not confident with the fact that you can make the circuits management on the voltage of those batteries. I think I'm able to destroy easily this kind of device. So this is the easiest way to make it without damaging anything. And of course, this is the best way to make your battery charging very fast, actually. And this is a very nice way to use your scope meter when you want, and charge it very quickly. So it was Alexander again. I hope you like this quick video, and see you soon.